On this computer. Okay, hello, Dream Team. It's 10:10, Columbus Day, all the things, Jamie Short's birthday. Um, you guys can thank my husband for this. He brought home a book the other day that he's been reading or has read, I guess, a while back. And I started reading it today, and it's about personal growth, but everything that he talks about, you could literally sub out the word personal and put in business. And I was like, oh. So I've literally reread chapter one 3 times. Once just because I loved it, two because I wanted to make sure I got it, and then three when I was like, oh, this is what I should talk about tonight. So hopefully I don't screw this up. But I want to talk about let me see, there's 7 excuses, or some of them are excuses, some of them are just like thought processes that we go through when we're looking to grow our business. And so we're going to go through those, and then we're going to talk about how to go from accidental, because, and I'll be the first to admit this, in the last 7.5 years, my business success has been more accidental than intentional. And that's not an easy thing to admit, but it's very true. And over like maybe at the 5-year mark, you couldn't rely on luck or accidents anymore. Like it had to start becoming more intentional. And I didn't really know how to do it. I'd never done network marketing. I've had brick and mortar, never had, I don't know. And I feel like it's a real challenge too with what we do specifically, because we have the social media aspect of it. And I swear every time I get something figured out, they change it or they add on to it. So this whole thing, like, really, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. This is so real. So basically what we have are what he refers to as growth traps or gaps. So when you're trying to grow, you have either this mental trap you get into or this gap. So the first one that he talks about is the assumption gap. And it's this one I was like, oh, duh. And it's so, so true. When you are a little kid, you just automatically grow. You just automatically get better at things, right? Like one day you can't walk. Next thing you know, you're walking. Next thing you know, you're running. One day you start school, you don't know how to read. Before you know it, you're reading. Then you're reading like little books, you're reading big books. Like everything just naturally starts to happen. And it made me start thinking back to like when you're a kid, like every year you kind of outgrow your clothes, right? Like your foot got bigger or you got taller, and it was just happening automatically. So a lot of people, whether we thinking about it or not, we just expect things to grow automatically. So how many of you started your business and you're like, okay, I'm starting this business. I'm going to talk to these people, I'm going to get an order. It's going to start to grow. Like we just assume it's going to start to grow. So we make the assumption that things are going to grow automatically. Whereas in life, if you want your business to improve, you have to improve your business. It's not just going to automatically happen. Unfortunately, typically what around for girls around the age 13, 14, we stop automatically growing. We stop automatically getting smarter. We stop automatically getting better at something because we no longer have that beauty of youth. We're now fully formed and we have to do all the things. And so your business is the same way. Some of you, and myself included, may have hit the ground running and it may have seemed like it was growing automatically in the beginning. And I think that's also semi-natural because it's new. It was a new product. It was a new business. You were talking to people for the first time ever. So it was automatically kind of happening. But then what, 6 months in, 6 weeks in, 6 years in, depending on who you are and where it went, it stopped. And so if you want to grow your business, you can no longer assume it's going to happen automatically. You can no longer assume I'm going to make a post and it's and what Sam says it all the time, post and pray. You can't post and pray. If you want your business to improve, you have to improve your business. The second gap that he acknowledges is the knowledge gap. And this one I hear all the time. I don't know how to grow my business. I've said it. I would do things and it wouldn't grow. Or I would do something I didn't think it would help and it did grow. But then I would do it again and it didn't grow that time. I didn't truly know how to grow. And so there's a quote here where he says, if you are clear with what you want, the world will respond with clarity. And to me, what that breaks down to with our business is a lot of times we're like, yeah, I want to grow this business. Yeah, I want to be 4K. Yeah, I want new customers. Okay, well, that's not clear. I want 4 new customers by the end of October of 2022. I want to be 4K by December 1st, 2022. You got to be really clear. So to me, when we're just like throwing out, yeah, I want to be 12K, I want to be 12K. Yeah, I'm going to hit 12K. Oh, we're going 12K this month. We got to be real clear with what we actually want, because when we just throw out those thoughts and ideas and they're not clear on exactly what we want, then there's nothing really to push us to exactly where we wanted to go. Right? Will you repeat what he said? Yeah. The quote is, if you are clear with what you want, the world responds with clarity. And he talks about how some people will just learn from the school of hard knocks. Like, how many of us have been there in our business? We just learned the hard way. We did something wrong. We thought something this, we thought something that. Or we were trying to grow the business and then we like hit a rut. Just we've all been in the school of hard knocks when it comes to our Lavelle business. And again, it's because none of us, I graduated from no school of hard knocks. Court was valedictorian. So he talks about how instead of coming out of the school, or how instead of going into the school of hard knocks and just, so again, to put this in perspective, instead of waking up on the first of the month being like, I'm going to go 12K this month and just sort of letting it fly and just, I'm going to learn from the school of hard knocks. I'm either going to get there or I'm not. He says to plan your growth intentionally. You decide where you need or want to go. You choose what you're going to do, and then you follow through with the discipline going at the pace you set. So again, if you set your goal and you're very specific about a date and a time and you're clear with what that goal is, you can actually decide how you're going to get to that goal, which we've talked a lot about this. I've shared with you guys my planner where it says read 2 books, and I literally write down 30 minutes of reading today. I know that that's what it takes, but I promise you, if I didn't write that down every day and make myself check that off, it wouldn't happen, because there are days it doesn't happen even when I have it written down. So I know exactly what I want to do in the month of October, and I have to break down what I'm going to do to make it happen. Otherwise, it's just a thought. So I have to be clear on what I want my business to do, and then I have to be clear on what I'm willing to do, what I am going to, where he says, I decide what I need, where I want to grow, what I'm going to choose to do, and follow through with the discipline going at the pace that I set. He also talked about, which I think this is a really good point for number 2, for the knowledge gap. A lot of times we'll stop ourselves because I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it. Or like even in what this example I gave you guys a minute ago, like I feel like we're doing so good with, I don't know, Instagram stories. Like, did we not all feel so good finally with Instagram stories? And then they were like, oh, reels. Like, crap, we just learned stories really good. But the thing is, when you start to crack open the new thing, so in that case, reels, you remember the first time you made a reel and you were like, God, I hope nobody sees this. I hope no one's watching me through a window because I look like an idiot right now. And then you were like, I don't know how to put words on it. I can't get my song to line up. Like, it was a whole thing, right? But then all of a sudden you got the words in the right place and you saw that crack, like, oh, I'm cracking the code. I'm getting it. You have to push to that crack. And once you see the crack, then you start to see the opportunity that lies ahead, right? You figured out how to put the words on it. You figured out how to do the voiceover. You slowly but surely start to crack that code and you start to learn. And again, yes, when we're little, we pick things up very easy. We learn things so fast. Show me a child under the age of 8 that can't pick up a cell phone and do everything on it without having ever touched it before. They just do. Show me a 48-year-old woman with a new cell phone. It takes me some time. I got to work through this bad boy to figure out what the hell's going on here, right? So, but again, I want my cell phone. I want to use it. I want it to work. So I'm willing to push till I get to those spots. So no, you can't assume that you're going to know it all, and you can't assume that when you learn something that you're done learning. I feel like as soon as I'm done learning and I get it all figured out, I'm probably going to go, right? I mean, when I'm Jesus will be like, oh, good for her. She figured it all out. Like, time to come back. So I'm definitely not there yet. The timing gap. This is number 3. And this one got me. So basically the timing gap is when you're like, this isn't the right time for me. This isn't, I've either put in a bunch of time or I can't even put in the time because it's not the right time for me. This just isn't working out. So here's a question for you. 5 frogs are sitting on a log. Okay, 5 frogs are sitting on a log. 4 decide they're going to jump off. How many are left on the log? Sonia says 1. Lisa says 1. Mike, what do you think? Mike says 5. Mike is right. Do you know why why Mike is right? It's because there's a difference between deciding and doing. 4 frogs decided to do it, but they didn't do it. Right? Good job, Mike. You can go to Mexico next week. That's your prize. And so there's it's actually called the law of diminishing intent. This is actually a scientific thing I'm going to throw your way. But basically what it boils down to is the longer you wait to do something that you know you should do, the greater the odds are that you're never going to do it. So how many times have you been like, I know I got to do this. I know I got to do it. I know I got to do it. I know I got to do it. Oh, I know I got to do it. And then you're like, oh, I should have done it. It's too late now. I didn't do it. So basically the point of that is make the decision and jump. Like, don't keep saying, I don't have enough time. And don't keep saying, but I've done all this time. What have you done with the time? Were you clear with your goals? Were you daily choosing to do something to get you closer to your actual goal? Or did you float around thinking, I'm going to kind of build this business, I'm going to kind of maybe hit 12K. I might want to try to earn a trip. Or were you like, I'm going to earn a trip. I'm going to get up every day. I'm going to do to get to this trip. And it basically boils down to deciding. And if any of you have ever read or listened to Think and Grow Rich, I literally think it's the hardest book in the world to listen or read to, but I know it's full of good stuff. That entire book, every single chapter, all he really would have to do is say, make the decision. Chapter 1, make the decision. Chapter 2, make the decision. Chapter 3, make the decision. I want you to think of something in this world that you've made, like we make decisions all day long. What am I going to eat? What am I going to wear? Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? And then maybe they get a little bigger. Where am I going to live? Where am I going to go on vacation? What kind of car am I going to drive? What kind of money am I going to put away? Am I going to go on this? Am I going to go watch this concert or that concert? We make decisions. And when we decide something, it happens. It may not happen in the very second you decide it, but it happens. If you truly, honestly decide that that's what you're going to do, it'll happen. So that's that whole book. Anyway, so I wanted to read this. I'm going to put my glasses on for this part. Okay, because it talks about, this is an author, Leo Buscaglia or whatever. I don't know. Sounds like a relative of mine. It says, life lived for tomorrow will always be a day away from being realized. So if you're always living for tomorrow, I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to get to that next week. I decided next month, I'm going to focus on this. So a life lived for tomorrow will always be a day away from being realized. The reality is that you will never get much done unless you go ahead and do it before you're ready. If you're not already intentionally growing your business, you need to start it today. Sorry. If you don't, you may reach some goals. You might even be able to celebrate some of them, and you will eventually plateau. Once you start intentionally growing your business, you can keep growing and ask yourself, what's next? So I totally agree with that in my own journey with my business. I reached some goals. I celebrated some things, but then I plateaued because I didn't have an actual intentional plan every day of doing something 1% better, one baby step forward, right? I would push for a trip. Woo, celebrate, we're on a trip. Push for the auto bonus. Woo, thank God we got that auto bonus for the month. That's not, and I know this, I own businesses. All the other businesses we have, they don't give you bonuses or cars. Trust me, none of that shit happens in the real world. And so what do we do every day? We get up and we go to work. We do, right? We schedule the clients. We work with the clients. We have the equipment. We clean the equipment. We do the laundry. We do, right? We pay the insurance. We do all this stuff. We do it every single day because there are no bonuses to chase in the regular world. And guess what happens? That business keeps growing. That business keeps going on. But when you just push for one thing or you just push for 1 week, or you're like, I'm going to go for this right now, you're going to plateau. If you don't, it's the whole idea of you got to stay ready versus get ready. And I know my first 5 years of this business, all I did was get ready. I got ready to earn a trip. I got ready to earn the next trip. And I do love to travel. But in reality, a person who works this business intentionally every single day, you can miss some of the trips because why? Because you have enough money to take yourself on vacation, right? I don't have to push for one trip I could take 3 on my own if I'm working this business intentionally. Okay, so number 4, I'm sorry, I hope this doesn't go long. Let me get a drink. And this is one that we've all done, and I do it all the time. Number 4, the mistake gap. I'm afraid of making mistakes. How many of you will stop yourself because you're afraid of making a mistake? Oh, Sonia, I guess I've been coasting through the year, finally feeling like I will be able to look at my future for the first time in a long time. So I need to figure out my goals in my life. Yeah, girl. I'll walk you through it. So the mistake gap. Growing can be messy business. It requires making mistakes. Let's go back to the very first thing where I talked about the little kid who everything comes automatically. Does it really, or does the kid fall down a million times trying to learn how to walk? Right? How many kids, case in point, I have a scar right here on my forehead. I was learning how to walk. I fell down on a brick sidewalk. I still decided to try to learn how to walk. I did not stop because I hit my head. It was messy. There was blood everywhere. There was pictures. Mom loves to tell the story because she loves a gory story. I still learned how to walk, right? So it's going to be messy. To become intentional about growing your business, you have to make mistakes every day, and welcome them as a sign that you're moving in the right direction. If you're not making mistakes, you're not doing anything new. If you're not making mistakes, you're not trying anything new, right? And so number 4 goes directly with number 5. So I'm glad they're together because number 5 is the perfection gap. This is also one I fall into a lot. I have to find the best way before I can get started. Guess what? You have to get started before you're ever going to know what the best way is. You absolutely have no idea what the best way is for you to do something until you do it. How many times have you had to mess something like, I don't know, maybe you're trying a new recipe and you got to try it 3 or 4 different ways till you finally find the way you like it. Hairstyles, come on, girls. How many times do we have to try it again till we figure out that, oh, that's how I'm supposed to curl my hair to make it look like the how she did, right? You have to do it if you're ever going to find the right way. So anytime you start feeling like it's not good enough, it's not perfect enough, it's okay, do it anyway. And I've heard a million times in business and in life, if you can't look back at your first product or your first business or your first building or your first whatever and kind of laugh a little bit and be a little bit embarrassed, then you've not grown, right? Like think of your first home, like think of the way the very first time you could decorate a home. You probably had hand-me-downs, you probably had stuff from yard sales, right? And I actually still have all of that, but you eventually get better and you learn how to use it better, right? Or you learn how to mix in some of that with something new and you just evolve. But you can't be perfect because if I waited to have the perfect house, my house would be completely empty. I would just be sitting on the floor right now talking to you guys, right? If I waited for the perfect hairdo, you would never, ever see me on a Zoom. According to my first reach out, oh girl, when I look back to my first reach outs, and the worst is that Sandra Dilbeck loves to share the first message I ever sent her because it's part of her story. And I get that, but I'm like, girl, don't be showing that to people. It's awful. I think I was so excited. I talked for days. Anyway, don't wait to be perfect. If you're making a graphic for a call, if you're jumping on a call, if you're talking to a customer, just do it. The worst thing that could happen is you make a mistake and you go, you know what? I'm wrong. I gave you the wrong price. Or I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I told you the wrong flavors. It's okay. This is not, luckily, brain surgery. We are not going to kill anybody by quoting them the wrong price or telling them the wrong thing or sending them the wrong link, right? Everything we do as promoters, we can fix. Okay, number 6, the inspiration gap. And this is, well, these are all good apparently, but this one gets me because I have said it. I have gotten a point in my life where when I say this, I catch myself and I yell at myself, but other people will say it and I want to yell at them, and that's not politically or socially acceptable. The inspiration gap. I don't feel like doing it. There are literally times I'll look at my to-dos, but I don't feel like doing that. And then in my head, I'm like, really, Tammy? You don't feel like doing the things that you set your mind? Like you're the one that set that goal. You're the one that said you were going to do it. And now you don't feel like doing it. Well, if you're not going to do it, then how the hell are you going to do anything? Where are you going to go in life? Right? Like that's the conversation. It's really up here is a whole other world. Um, but I thought this was funny because basically this guy, what's his name? John Maxwell. He's only a famous author and I couldn't think of his name. Anyway, he talked about how, well, this was in 1974, so this was the year I was born, but also way before Nike ever came out with it. But his slogan is just do it. You don't feel like doing it, too damn bad. Just do it. And how often, like, and I can relate to this one for sure with exercise. How often are we like, I don't want to go work out. I cannot work out today. I can't do it. My body hurts. I've got a headache. I didn't eat enough. I got laundry, all the things, right? And then you get there and you start to get warmed up and you're like, oh, yeah, I'm working out today. I feel pretty good. You just have to do it. You just have to push yourself there. And I love this quote. Motivation is like love and happiness. It's a byproduct. When you're actively engaged in doing something, it sneaks up and zaps you when you least expect it. So most people wait on motivation to get started, but motivation won't come until you start. Have you ever thought, I need to clean this closet? And you just start. But then once you start to pull stuff out and you see it empty and you start realizing I can get rid of this and I can get rid of that and this doesn't even belong in here, then you start getting motivated. I can get this closet clean. This is going to be so beautiful when I'm done. I have painted it 872 rooms in my lifetime. I feel like I have never been motivated to paint any of them. But the second the paint touches the wall, I'm like, oh my God, let's do it. Let's do it. I cannot wait to see what this is going to be like. Like, it's going to be so pretty, right? So you have to do it. You can't wait for motivation. You can't. But I love how they said that. It is like love and happiness that is a byproduct. When you're actively engaged in doing something, it sneaks up and zaps you when you least expect it. So it says, so make a commitment to yourself to start and stick with it for at least 12 months. How many of you, and I can already tell you, I can't think of anything except the business itself. How many of you have started something to grow your business and literally done it every day for 12 months before you decided it didn't work? Yeah, me either. But yet, as Ed Milet talked about in the podcast we were assigned last week, we all want to make doctor money, but none of us want to go to medical school. Right? So think about that. You're not going to be motivated to do something every single day for 12 months, but you have to do it. And from it, you're going to crack open. You're going to get better at it. You're going to start to see, that you're smarter than you thought, or that you're getting smarter than you were. You're going to start to see progress. And in that 12 months, I think you're also probably going to feel like doors get slammed in your face and you're going to start to feel like you're an idiot one day. But you just have to keep going. You have to be actively engaged in what you decide you wanted to do. Like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yes. Okay. I am glad you pointed that out because I can say as of today, we have been doing that since February 14th consistently. So almost a whole year. And I literally do it. It's like brushing my teeth now. I do it like I don't know. It's done. It's in my binder. I know to do it. I know. And like, there are some days, maybe, I don't know if you guys are like this too. Some days I hit the ground running and I'm like, whoop, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, she's done. And other days I'm like, oh my God, I don't know who to talk to today. I don't know what to talk about today. And I just will struggle. And today was one of those. And I don't know why. I think over the weekend, it was just homecoming pictures and it was so easy to start conversations with people. But today, I don't know. I just was in a pickle and I felt myself stand up from the table and I was like, no, girl, sit your ass back down and finish this. This is not hard. You are sending conversations to people. Okay. This is not hard. And those are the conversations I have with myself. And so I sat back down and I got it done. But I wasn't motivated to do it. Right. I sure as hell was not motivated to do it. Okay. Number 7, we're going to go a little over time. Sorry. Number 7, the comparison gap. Others are better than I am. I mean, how many times have we talked about it? Sonia says, many nights of turning the light off at 11:30 because I needed to fill in those spots. Yeah. Making sure you get it done though. So the comparison gap, others are better than I am. This is something that we do all the time as females, as entrepreneurs. Those are the only 2 excuses I can come up with. I guess human, I don't know. So this person talked about how he was invited to this group meeting and he just knew. So think of your first Thrive Palooza or your first local. So he walks in the room and he knows immediately, he's in over his head, that everyone in that room knows more than he does. They're all better at whatever it is that they're doing than he is. And he's like, I should probably walk backwards and get out of the room before anybody sees me. I know for a fact I have felt that way many, many times. But he says, all of a sudden I realized great people were there and they were willing to share their ideas. They were willing to teach me, and I was ready to learn. You can only learn if others are ahead of you. You have to have other people that are better than you around you. We say it all the time. If you're the smartest person in the room, go find a new room. Like there's a time to be the teacher, but there's a time to be the student. And so, yeah, when you're in that moment and you're like, I'm in over my head. I mean, Courtney, I feel very anxious, insecure, and totally worried about speaking in Toledo because I feel like because Chastity Marie's going to be talking on stage. So, but I'm like, okay, it's going to be okay. They're all going to pour into us. We're going to learn. I'm going to share what I can share, and we're going to be fine. No one's going to die, right, Lisa? Remind me, no one's going to die. But so I just love that. Like, I realized that great people were willing to share their ideas. They were willing to teach me, and I was ready to learn. I might have to make that an I am for myself, something like that. Number 8, the expectation gap. I thought it was going to be easier than this. I also thought it was going to be easier than this. I thought I would have been at 200K about 7 years ago, right? I hit the auto bonus. I hit that 40K. I hit that 80K. We went as a team to Thrive Palooza that first year in April, which would have been 10 months into the business. As a team, I think we ended up at $180,000 that month. And I was like, this is it. This is it. We're doing it. We ain't done it yet. But I would not trade the last 7 years of my life for any of this. Right? We didn't hit 200K, but we've done amazing things, like amazing things. So the expectation gap. I don't know a single successful person who thinks that growth comes quick and that climbing to the top is easy. It just doesn't happen. People create their own luck. Want to know how? Here's the formula. Are you ready for the formula to create luck? You're going to take preparation plus your attitude plus your opportunity plus your daily actions. You're going to add that all up and you're going to get yourself some luck. One of my favorite quotes is, the harder I work, the luckier I get. And I think it's true. I'm not saying like there aren't some people out there who didn't wake up with a silver spoon in their mouth or that maybe won the lottery or whatever. But most of the people who have amazing lives and are living, and when I say an amazing life, that means when I say that, all 4 of us thought of something different. My version of amazing life is going to be a different version than your version of an amazing life. But when you think of someone who's living that amazing life, I bet they work to get there. And you may not even know. They may not have ever shared with people all the work they did to get there. You may not know the 5 years that they didn't do anything or go anywhere because they were working a night job in addition to their day job and they weren't spending money on anything. We have no idea how people get to where they are. But what we do know is where we want to go versus where we are and what we have to do to get there. We have to do it. So it all starts with preparation. Unfortunately, that means it's going to take time. You cannot change your destination overnight, but you can change your direction overnight. And that is a true statement. You can literally change your direction overnight. Lisa Cook changed her direction by getting up earlier and going to bed earlier. I changed my direction by getting up at the same time I was getting up, but instead of laying in bed working on my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I make myself get up now and go for a 30-minute walk. I don't know what it is about that 30-minute walk. And you guys, it's been really effing cold these last couple mornings, but I did it. But it's 30 minutes with a podcast in my ear. And sometimes I hear the podcast and sometimes I'm having an entirely different conversation in my head while walking the dark streets of Lebanon. But I knew in my heart of hearts that sitting in the bed working on my 5 4 3 2 1 wasn't resulting in the rest of my day feeling good. And I can get up and do my walk. I can feed my soul, feed my brain, move my body. And then for whatever reason, the way I'm wired, it makes the rest of my day go so much better. So what is one thing you can do to change your direction tonight? You may not be motivated to do it. It may not come easy to you. You may not think you're smart enough to do it. You may not think that you're equipped to do it. But what is one thing that you know in your heart of hearts you can change tonight to change your direction? Let me flip my page. Okay, so this is the last part of it. So I'm sorry, we are definitely late, but we're going to make the transition from intentional or from accidental to intentional. So how we were talking earlier about like how our mindset sometimes is we're just accidentally successful. Like we're like, oh, I got a new customer. Oh my gosh, huh, yay! And then 6 months go by, and you're like, oh, I got a new customer. Like that is literally accidental. If you know what I mean, like. And don't get me wrong, like when we hear from these people, I'm like, I got the highest PPA I've had in forever, and my 30-day PPA is 60. Okay, I will be impressed when you show me a 30-day PPA of 60 for 3 months or for 3 years solid, right? So he says that you have to ask yourself the big question, and here is the big question. Most people will ask in their mind, how long will this take? Instead, ask yourself, how far can I go? If I had asked early on, how long is it going to take to hit 200K? And when I saw enough people hit it within 6 months to a year, then like, well, I guess I didn't do it. But instead, and not that I really said this, but how far can I take it? You guys, let me just tell you, if you get paid as a 12K for 7.5 years, you're making a really good income. Really good. If you get paid as a 40K for 7.5 years, you're making a really good income. Like enough money to quit your day job. Right? So maybe you're not to where you want to be yet, but you're not far. But you have to stay consistent. You can't hit 12K 1 month and then not hit 12K. You know what I mean? Like you can, that can happen. But to get to the money I'm talking about, that you could be consistent and ride out, you have to start becoming consistent. So how far can I go? So the other thing, I think a lot of times in our brain, we're like, I'm going to go to 12K. And then somebody gets there and they're like, okay, I made it to 12K. Good for me. No, how far can you go? Let's go to 16K. Let's go to 18K. Let's get to 24K. Like how far can you go? So yes, we've been so close to 200K as a team before that I've literally like drooled out the side of my mouth, but we haven't tasted it yet. But if I had stopped because of that, I would be working a whole lot more than I do. I mean, I work a lot, but I love what I do. You know what I mean? Like I would not be home. I wouldn't have the ability to be home, to work from home, to get to have lunch with my sister in the afternoon. There are so many things that I get that I wouldn't have had I given up, had I been like, well, it's taking too long. So ask yourself, how far can I go? Number 2, do it now. Okay, so this, I thought this was funny because again, in 1974, he attended a seminar at the University of Dayton. He listened to this person who spoke, and the person had written a book, I think, called Do It Now. So one of the exercises that this man challenged everyone to do was before you get out of bed every morning, say, do it now 50 times. At the end of the day, before you go to sleep, the last thing he wants you to say is, do it now 50 times. Which that last part gave me anxiety because then I'm afraid I won't be able to sleep. But he said, I went home and for the next 6 months, I followed his advice. Every morning and every night, I said, do it now 50 times. I started waking up with the most tremendous sense of urgency. And that is what most people are lacking when it comes to business. We're going to do it tomorrow. Did you do your reel today? No, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Did you get all your reach outs done today? No, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Right? No, do it now. Do it now. Spoiler alert, we could be dead tomorrow. Right? And so when that happens, none of this matters. But do it now. Here's the thing. Let's pretend I'm going to go there. We're going to get morbid. Let's pretend I do all my reach outs today. I connect with a woman. I get her curious about Thrive. I get her looking on the website, and I die tonight in my sleep. But tomorrow morning, she doesn't know I'm dead. She orders her Thrive. She starts taking it. She starts to feel better. She tells a couple people. They tell a couple people. This woman goes on to get an auto bonus. This woman feels amazing. I'm dead. But look what I started because I did it now. So stop. This goes back to Katie K. You're holding on to someone's blessing. If you're not doing it now, if you're waiting for later, you're waiting for tomorrow, that's selfish. Like flat out selfish. You got to do it now. Lisa says, and Mylette says, we are so much closer to our goals than we realize. And we really are. We really, really are. Oh, is this my last thing? Hang on. It's not my last thing, but I do want to share this. Later, right? The word later is one of those dream killers, one of the countless obstacles we put up to derail our chance for success. I'm going to read that again slower. One of the countless obstacles we put up to derail our chance of success. Anytime you think or you say, I'm going to do it tomorrow, I'm going to do it later, I'll get to that next week, you are derailing your chance. Nobody else. It's you. So you can't be mad. If you're not where you want to be, think back to how many times did you not do it? The diet that starts tomorrow, the job hunt that's going to happen eventually. I'm going to pursue my life goals someday. Right? How many times have we said that? Eventually, tomorrow, someday. They're all self-imposed, which I think is the most important part of this whole sentence, self-imposed roadblocks. It keeps us in our comfort zone. The third thing he suggests is to face the fear. Face your fear of failure. Face the fear of trading what you're secure with for the unknown. The fear of being overextended financially. The fear of what others are going to say or think about you. The fear that success will alienate your peers. You are going to fail. We've already said it. You're going to make mistakes. So you're going to fail. Just accept that. There is nothing secure in this world. So a lot of people would come to me. This was way back in the day, but I think people understand it more now. I went to college. I had a college degree. I could have got that great college job. I actually had that great college job. And I remember in my second year, so what was I then? 24, 25? I don't know. I was just a little youngster. I was just a pup. I remember all of a sudden these people who I'd gotten to know who had like 36 years and 40 years with this company, they got walked out with cardboard boxes and they were escorted to their cars one afternoon. And I didn't really totally understand what was happening. And then I started to put it together and I was like, but John's been here since he got out of high school and he's supposed to retire in 2 years. So yeah, is owning your own business secure? No. Is working for someone else secure? No. None of it is. So if you're worried about why I'm secure here, no, you're not. Let me remind you what we just said. We could all die tomorrow. None of this is guaranteed. So if that's holding you back, if you're afraid of that, you're wasting your time because you are not secure. I'm throwing it out right now. Millionaires are not secure. They can lose it all tomorrow. Money is just energy. It comes, it goes, right? If you are afraid of being overextended financially, it's going to happen. You guys, I have had lots of money and I have had no money. I have sold my KitchenAid mixer on eBay to pay my electric bill. I had cash one time for my 30th birthday, bought myself the nicest pair of cowboy boots I could ever find. I loved them. And 6 months later, I had to sell them on eBay to some chick out in California because I couldn't afford my electric bill. It's going to happen, right? It's going to happen. If you're worried about what other people say or think, if they're talking about you, good, right? Good, bad, or ugly. All publicity is good publicity. Kim Kardashian became famous because a sex tape slipped out, right? Trust me, if people are talking about you, good for you. Either they love you or they hate you, but either way, they're saying your name, right? And if you are afraid that success will alienate your peers, it will. You are going to succeed, and some people are not going to like that. Because when you grow and they don't, and they had every opportunity to do what you had and they chose not to, that's a mirror back on them. But again, we could all die tomorrow, including that friend that was making fun of you that didn't do anything. So why are you worried about what they think and say? This is your one life. to do with what you want. And this business has called you here somehow, right? It still blows my mind we're all here. All right, last thing, I promise. Yeah, for real. I checked. Last thing. Changing from accidental to intentional. I love this. People tend to get into ruts in life. They get in an easy groove and they don't try to break out of it. Right. So a lot of times you're like, I'm in a rut. Well, like when you're on a dirt road, you stay in the rut, right? It's not the bumpy part anymore. It's the part you stay in on purpose. And we do that with our lives. The only difference between a rut and a grave is the length. So how long are you going to let your rut get? Are you going to keep getting deeper and longer in that rut and build yourself your own little grave? Or are you going to ride in it to get started and then pave your own path? So I'm going to go through some mindset, accidental mindset, basically, and then tell you the intentional mindset, so just so you can start to feel the difference. Okay, so accidental. I'm planning to start tomorrow. Okay, I'm planning to start this tomorrow, versus I'm starting this today. I've decided to start this today. I'm waiting for the customers to come. I'm waiting for this business to grow. This business is going to grow. I can just feel it. It's coming. I just know it is. Versus, I'm going to take complete responsibility for growing this business, and I'm going to do XYZ every day. Accidental would be I only learn when I make a mistake. I've got to screw it up before I'm going to learn that. How about you get rid of your ego and learn from others? Ask other people, what did you do to get here? What did you do when this happened? How did this happen? How did you find your way here? Versus being stubborn and only learning from your own mistakes. Depending on good luck. That's the lottery. I have literally watched people only with $10 to their name buy $10 of lottery tickets. That's luck versus hard work. Right? Do you want to be lucky or do you want to work hard? Because what did I tell you? The harder you work, the luckier you're going to get. Accidental mindset. Quit early and often. So I'm going to work on my business today for 30 minutes, 20 minutes in. Oh, I got to go. Or and we all are going to have the mindset. We're human, so it's going to happen, but it's what you deal with it. I'm quitting. I can't do it anymore. This is too hard. I'm not where I want to be. I'm quitting. Versus I'm here for the long haul and the hard part, because I know that even if you never hit 200K, being here every day for the last 7.5 years has afforded you XYZ. It has brought you the flexibility of XYZ, right? Big talker versus someone who follows through. I will be honest with you, ever since I started this new planner, and I know I've talked about it a lot and I'm probably driving you all nuts about it, but I don't even care. Ever since I've started this new planner, I don't have a lot of time. I'm not on Facebook as much as I used to be, like, for fun, because I got shit to do. I determine these top 10 goals, and I only have the same hours in the day that you do. And I have noticed I don't have a whole lot more free time. But I don't have time to talk about what I'm doing because I'm too busy doing what I'm doing, right? Sorry, I lost my place. Okay, think like a victim. This always happens to me. I knew it was going to happen. I always screw up, versus thinking like a learner. All right, fuck that up. Won't do that again. Now I see how I was supposed to do that. Okay, moving on, right? Getting better by the day. This one I love, because this one I think a lot of people, whenever you hear yourself say, I can't do what she does, or they're better than me, someone who is growing accidentally is relying on their talent versus someone who is relying on their character. I am not talented at all the things, but my character is to say, I'm not good at this, but I'm going to find somebody who is, right? So it's kind of like the actor who is handsome and can sing, and so they get all the parts, but then they can't do anything else. And all of a sudden when that they age out, so it doesn't matter anymore, like they can't do anything else with their career. You don't want to just rely on being talented at one thing, right? You want to have character and you want to develop that character for your entire business. And this one I love too. People who stop learning after graduation. People who are like, I'm out of school. I don't have to learn anything anymore. I don't need to take a class. I don't need, and you guys, that's coming from me. I will never go back to college. These people who go back for their, I mean, bless them. Good for them. I am done with college. But if you do find me in my free time, I'm on YouTube. Why do I watch YouTubes instead of TV? Anybody know why Tammy only watches YouTubes? Because I like to learn shit. And I'm a visual learner. I will watch a 15-minute video and learn how to do something versus a television show about made up lives. Or Tom likes to, bang him up, kill people kind of thing. So anyway, I'm going to finish with this. In the long run, we shape our lives and we shape ourselves. Thus, we shape our business. The choices we make are ultimately our responsibility. The only way to seize growth, the only way to have growth is to seize it. It doesn't just happen. You have to go after it. So if you're wanting your business to grow, you have to go after it, and you have to go after it every day, repeatedly. You guys, the things I've been doing, it's only October 10th, and I swear to you, I feel like I've been doing this for like 8 months because it's a lot of work. But in addition to my 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 every day, I am sending out 10 messages through Thrive Connect. I'm sending 3 messages to current customers or existing promoters, asking them if they know 2 people who want to sample. I'm doing all of these things because I'm intentional. I am intentionally growing my business. I'm no longer relying on talent or luck or a promo or whatever, right? I've already proven that I can tough it out for the long haul. And I think all of you can say that. We've all been here for the long haul. But now I want to prove that I can intentionally grow this business. I can do, and I do say it's a lot of work, but at the same time, that message I'm sending out on Thrive Connect, it's a copy paste. But I'm doing 10 people a day. Because why? Because I can do 10 people a day. If I said I had to do all my customers in one day, I would literally be in the basement, rocking myself in the corner, hiding from you. Because I can't do that many in one day. And it's the same with the sample offer. It's the same message. I'm copying and pasting it, but I got to send it to 3 people a day. Now, people open this stuff, right? That's the other reason I don't want to send it to everybody on one day. People open these messages. They respond. They have questions. I sent out 3 messages today offering samples. I got 3 messages back. I got 3 sample requests back. So if I had sent it to everybody, then how many samples would I have to send out in one day, right? So do it in small chunks so it's manageable, but do it every single day. And here's the crazy thing. On repeat in November, I'm going to reach back out to these same people because some of them told me, no, they don't know anybody. Of course you do. Some of them told me, I know these people right away, but they don't have their email address, right? And then some of these people have sent me sample. Your non-promoting promoters, at least mine are right now, they're a freaking gold mine. Almost every non-promoting promoter I've asked has sent me 2 names, addresses, and emails of people that would like to try Thrive. They aren't going to ask them about it. They aren't going to talk to them about it, but I did. So I created a customer account for them under that promoter. We got the sample going. We're in a 3-way chat. I am willing to do the work. I just don't know all the people. So as soon as I was feeling like, I don't know who else to talk to, I've talked to everybody, I went back and started talking to people I've been talking to. But again, every day, 1% better every day. You guys, if you people will come to me and be like, okay, I know it's October 10th, but I'm in a wedding on November 15th and I need to lose 50 pounds. It's just real. It's what happens in our day to day, right? And how many of us have ever been like, oh my God, I need to lose 10 pounds by Friday, right? Whereas if somebody had just started walking for 30 minutes last year, they'd be so much better, right? So think about that with your business. If you want to reach big goals with your business, you've got to do the little stuff every day, the unglamorous, no shout out graphics involved kind of stuff, but you got to do it every single day. And being intentional with what you're doing is what will grow your business. So way past time. Thanks for hanging out for the whole thing. Bye.